I have never lost a competitive game to No.
I don't know, I think he just gets lucky every time.
No comes out and he throws down the forward guide. He gets a good knockup, but he is in the middle of the fight without any help.
I'm planning on keeping that record.
I think if we go same level, we'll stomp them.
We just improved so much faster than the other teams. We're just showing how good we've become.
Their only chance is to have like 12K gold lead against us.
This has been an absurd series.
A double kill for OddOrange. They get the bear and they get the ace.
Is it a sweep for FlyQuest Academy? Nobody thought it would happen.
You kidding me, Riv? They come back after having all three inhibitors. FOXA Academy 3-1 and punch that sought-after ticket to the finals.
Hello, League fans, and welcome to the 2018 North American Academy League Finals. I'm your host, Rivington Business III, along with Aiden, Zyrene Moon, and special guest Grayson Golden Glue Gilmer from Cloud9 Academy to help break down all of today's action. Gentlemen, welcome, and I'm so happy to have you here. Help me academize everything.
Academize, yeah. I think
yes, indeed.
I have to stop calling it Challenger. I just said it like right
Wrote
before.
it down.
I was like, make sure NALCS Academy, because things have changed actually quite a bit.
Yeah, I mix it up every single time. Like Challenger, Academy, it's always kind of been the same thing in the second league. So it's, I always mess it up even though I'm in Academy.
I think there are a lot of big differences though, right? Like,
yeah,
absolutely.
Having all these organizations behind these teams has actually helped a lot of players.
Feels good. Well, be ready. I'm about to pick your brains.
Okay.
Today, we crown the Spring Split Academy League champions. And for these teams and players, it's been a long journey that started more than 10 weeks ago.
Yeah. 10 teams underneath LCS organization banners, up from 6 from the Challenger level. And I also think that having that backing from the LCS teams has helped a lot of these players, a lot of these organizations also like fill out rosters and find great talent. But I also think the level of just the competition in the Academy League is actually just higher than Challenger from back when I was on it, because it just seems like having the LCS team like scrim with them and like learn off of them back and forth, I think is very, very helpful for these players to grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I played in basically like every league across, Academy, Challenger, LCS. It definitely feels from Challenger to Academy now, Academy feels a lot more structured. It feels like, you're with an organization that people know, reputable management, and you have your, basically a sister team that you can talk to. You have another players, more experienced players that you can talk to help you out with that. So it feels a lot more structured. It feels pretty good. And it feels more long-term, where Challenger is more like, this split, we're going to make it in, and if we don't, everything goes boom. So that's basically what it was before.
You've been on Academy teams or the Challenger teams for LCS teams in the past, Team Liquid Academy and whatnot. So is there even a difference between what you were doing back then and now compared to that from Challenger to Academy? Because it seems like the proximity is a little bit different too.
Yeah, I would say Team Liquid Academy was pretty similar, I guess, to Cloud9 Academy in the sense that you still were a sister team. You're underneath, like you still had reputable management, all that good stuff. But it still was like, we're trying to get, you're trying to get out of Team Liquid Academy. You're trying to make LCS and sell and become a new organization. So it's a little different. But now it's like, you're with Cloud9 and you're on Academy, and this team's not going anywhere.
Exactly.
It's going to be there. So
it's focused on that improvement, like you said, the long term.
Yeah, it's a lot more focused on the long term.
You got to make that big impact. Well, ultimately, 4 teams have made it to the playoffs. Team Liquid Academy, Cloud9, FlyQuest, and Echo Fox Academy, all making those impacts. And for those not regularly following the league, we had a battle for first almost every single week, with FlyQuest battling against TLA and Cloud9, I should say, for the top spot. And it was just crazy. Every single game, we got a lot of consistency out of players, and it really showed from the Academy League.
Yeah, absolutely. All those top 4 teams, really had people show up, and I think a lot of the rookies kind of showed they had a level of consistency to them. And this is for FlyQuest in particular, where they have 3 rookies on this squad plus 2 LCS players. So it felt like the consistency came from just the rookies being like, oh, we're not going to lose you the game, and then the veterans of Shrimp and Keane step out.
Yeah, for sure. FlyQuest is pretty interesting because their 3, rookies played in collegiate together for like 2 years straight, and the coach too. So they all have that synergy. They know each other's play styles. So even though they're coming in as rookies to the Academy League, they played in competitive circuits for like 2 or so years. So they've got that experience, and you can tell when you watch the FlyQuest games, it's not like they have some real vital weakness that people are taking advantage of. It's more so that they're able to do their roles, and then Keane and Shrimp with the LCS experience are really able to like push their leads and help the team come to a win.
Absolutely. Speaking of FlyQuest, ended up finishing 3rd place overall, defeating Cloud9 Academy in last week's semifinal match. Didn't want to mention it, but that does advance them to today's match.
They mentioned, Erry said they need about a 12K gold lead to beat us. We're almost there, multiple times. But what was it like in this match for you, Gold and Blue? Because it ended up being like a really hectic one later on.
Yeah, in the matches, each single time it was like, there's that one game where the Nexus was 1 HP, the first game. And I was actually just like laughing in the game because I was like, oh man, like, oh, that was funny. We're gonna have to go back and end the game now.
But so were they. Keane had a smile on his face when that was happening.
I was just smiling like, oh, this is gonna be a good time. And then like, you lose another team fight. And then like the smile turns like neutral. You're like, oh wait, can we lose this game? And then, as everyone saw, we can indeed lose the game and the series. So, that happens.
Indeed. Could have been said better. FlyQuest face off against Echo Fox in Academy, Echo Fox Academy, I should say, in the final. A team in the middle of the pack that pulled ahead at the very end of the split. A little bit of hard work there in the end.
I believe they had to play tiebreaker to even get into the playoffs, secured their playoff spot with that very last game of the regular season. And Cloud9 Academy, it seemed like you kind of had Fox's number, despite them being in the finals here.
Yeah, I think the way our team played, our play style it just kind of matched up well versus them. We played a similar play style with some different tweaks of how we play mid jungle, and I think it turned out, pretty well for us. Like when they were pushing, we were able to they would push in for advantages, and we would just collapse on them and not let them overextend. We wouldn't let them have anything for free, so we ended up doing pretty well versus them, but they've come to show they're a pretty well-rounded team, and they don't need to take many risks to get wins.
So in the back of your head, were you kind of expecting Echo Fox to take down TLA in that situation?
I was super interested. Like the TLA Echo Fox series was super fun to watch because like that TLA as a team has just been super chaotic. Like, Viper in the top lane pulling out crazy picks. Mickey, like, very consistent, but also will do explosive plays. So I was not sure how that series was going to go. I was interested to see how TLA was going to do in a BO5 because a lot of their chaos works better in a best-out-of-1 series. So, I was thinking, even though they finished first in the season, it wasn't like a clear advantage over Echo Fox. And, Echo Fox, they came out and they played well. OddOrange really stepped up in that set.
Absolutely.
He wasn't really, like, doing anything super crazy during the regular season, but in the playoff match, he really popped off.
Yeah, we'll be talking about or hearing from him later, but very, very confident in his play lately.
Yeah, he surprised pretty much everybody. I remember the post-game interview with Damonte. Damonte was like even shocked at it. He was like, OddOrange played out of his mind today. It's like, I don't know what he ate for breakfast, but he was actually just destroying the game. He punished Mickey over and over again, and they really did kind of attribute a lot of their success to their analysts and their coaches, saying like they had kind of figured out the risks that TLA would take and where to punish them, and that seemed to work for OddOrange.
All right, so now I want to tunnel in a little bit, focus down onto the match itself, into a lane. How about we go to the mid lane, since we've got a pretty awesome matchup there, and we've got Golden Glue here with us today to talk about it. We're going to be looking at FLY's Keane facing off against Echo Fox's Damonte. What's your feeling playing against these guys, and how do you feel about the matchup?
So I think, Keane is a very standard player. He's got a lot of experience, and he knows how to play the game. He can scale up for team fights. He can snowball. He can play lots of matchups. He has a big champion pool. He'll pull out unique picks. Damonte is sort of a new player coming up in the scene. He will play very aggressive from what I've seen. He likes to play really aggressive. He likes to go out there, like take mechanical 1v1s. He will like to, take 2v2s. He just wants to fight, right? So I'm interested to see how this will go because I think Keane will probably opt for a more scaling, maybe I guess you could call it passive play style, and try to get to the team fights and try to like out macro him. Where I think Damonte is going to try to get in those 1v1 fights, get those skill 1v1 matchups, and see if he can abuse it that way.
So do you think there's a place for playing against Keane? He's made a name for himself in a few spots as being up there as a top NA and mid. Do you think Damonte could ever fill those shoes?
Yeah, I think he's doing pretty well right now. Like it's hard to say because he still needs more experience. He's still new to the scene, but he seems to be. He played in LCS a couple weeks ago, and he did really well there, and he's been doing pretty well in Academy. So I'm not expecting too much action in the mid lane this series because they're both really good mid laners and they should be respecting each other. But we'll see.
All right.
I have to ask you though, because like there's always a context around mid lane that you have to give because there's so many imports in the NALCS, right? It's like you have all these Danes coming in, you have people from Korea, right? Let's just talk about North American mids for Damonte here because we have High, Pobelter, and then this other guy that's kind of LCS level sometimes, Golden Glue, I think was his name.
He's in there.
Damonte, is he kind of the person who's potentially the 4th best NA mid laner?
I would probably. I'd probably say yes from what I'm thinking. I'm not sure. I mean, I could be forgetting somebody, but he definitely is like showing that he can play in LCS. He did well when he stepped up for LCS. True. And more so, the harder part of joining an LCS team as a North American mid laner is that teams are really invested when they sign imports and you get imports over here in North America. Even if they have like not so great of a split, they're not going to be fast to replace them with a mid laner that isn't necessarily proven.
That's a good point to make.
That's one of the harder things it is. It's not necessarily that like Damonte wouldn't be able to keep up with the imports, but teams are invested into these imports. Usually you pay more for the imports and they're traveling a long ways.
Absolutely.
So, it kind of, will there be a spot for him to prove himself? Like, we'll have to see. And then if he does get that spot, maybe he'll be able to pop off and keep his spot in LCS for a long time.
He's got maybe 5 chances tonight. We'll see how it goes. If he makes it 3, it looks even better. We're talking about the mid lane now, and a lot of the conversation also involves here the support that they get from the jungle, and the synergy between Shrimp and Keane is nothing you can shake a stick at. They have been very consistent for FlyQuest Academy.
Well, Shrimp and Keane, it's kind of been like Keane doesn't really have that old versatile kind of counterpick play style. He does it here and there, but it's not like the Rumble or the Jarvan or the Zed or the Urgot from old, right?
Okay.
So he's very consistent now, and then Shrimp is the person who flips the coin for him, and you don't know exactly what Shrimp's going to do. But this duo's been together for years now. They played on Apex, even before that together. So they've kind of been kind of connected at the hip here, and we're seeing that synergy kind of take control of the games here for FlyQuest.
Golden Glue, what's it like kind of knowing Keane might have Shrimp flying over a wall or just being in the back pocket?
Yeah, when we're going to play against FlyQuest Academy, our focus was on Keane and Shrimp. Shrimp, the one thing is they also have very versatile play styles where Shrimp will play the Sejuani, the Zac, the tanks, but he'll also pull out the Kha'Zix or an Olaf. He'll play the carry champions too. So you have to be pretty worried when you're playing versus him because he can play all the play styles and he plays them well. I think if you take down Keane and Shrimp, that's how you beat FlyQuest. But we'll see how Damonte and OddOrange can deal with him today.
Absolutely. And speaking about him, we kind of see this guy who comes from last place challenger, Team Gates. Opens it up for himself, OddOrange, and now we see him facing off here in the Academy Finals against one of the junglers that's been in the LCS.
I mean, if he can perform the way he did last week, I think OddOrange will have no problem because he blew that game wide open. I mean, during the regular season, OddOrange wasn't really that impressive, but during their semifinals, you can see the stats at the bottom. He was destroying a 10.3 KDA. Like, he really did control that game. And Damonte, like you said, Golden Glue, he's just very mechanically good, and he'll take a lot of those 2v2s. And when you have OddOrange who's already ahead in the game, those 2v2s just seem that much easier to actually take.
For sure, for sure.
How can you kind of play around a teammate like that that's peaking at the end of a season? Do you kind of just go all in with them, or is it more of calls from them or for sure and secured, or do you kind of still try to play the same game that's been around all season?
Usually you try to play the same game, but you can kind of tell if one of your teammates is like on fire. They're on a streak. If they make a call, you're gonna listen to it. Like, you're gonna follow it. You're not gonna second guess it. And you can hear it in their voice when they're on fire. There's confidence in what they're saying. And, it makes you more confident. You follow them, and, everything's good.
Awesome. Well, maybe we'll see a lot of that today. There's even more exciting matchups to watch in this series, but we can't have all the discussion to ourselves. So let's toss it over to the casters to get us into game.
Thanks, Ruben. Hello, everyone. I'm Julian Petru-Time Cobb, making sure I get one last Academy cast in with my best friend, Mark Zimmerman. How does it feel to finally be free of the analyst desk?
It's all right. It's a little uncomfortable. There's a lot more space behind me.
Yeah.
There's people. I'm used to having a wall back there with graphics and stuff. I don't know. It's uncomfortable a little bit.
Well, we'll see how you do as the day progresses. But as we've alluded to on the desk, there are still a few matchups to hit in this showdown between FlyQuest Academy and Echo Fox. So let's start our conversation off in the top lane with No versus Allorim. We've heard a bit of the history already. It's a fun one.
Yeah, and you know that head-to-head when we kind of mentioned it in the tease where Allorim says he has never lost to No in competitive, which turns out to have been a total of 9 times.
That's a lot.
We went back and checked. There's a 2-0 at DreamHack Montreal, a 3-0 in last year's December online qualifier, a 2-0 in the online qualifier after that, and then, of course, the 2-0 this regular season Academy split. And it's not often you have such a storied history between Academy players, so this is going to be a lot of fun to see how this matchup plays out. No has been kind of a role player for his team, performing consistently on tanks all split, and Allorim has pretty much done the same thing.
Yeah, that, of course, leaves us with the bot lane, where University of Toronto duo Erry and JayJ go up against OCE import Lost and his LCS rookie support, PapaChau.
Both these bot lanes have mostly flown under the radar in Academy, playing as role players for their team a little bit rather than taking the center stage. Both Erry and Lost have good individual performances in a few games, but you don't see too many resources funneled into the players. So with that said, we did hear that Erry believes Lost to be one of the best bot laners in the entire league. We're going to have to see how that dynamic plays out today. I would probably also give the edge to Lost in the matchup, but the support matchup is a lot closer between PapaChau and JayJ. So given how these teams play, I don't really expect either bot lane to be a major factor in the series, but who knows, because AD carries seem to be very important in the meta.
Well, that covers all of today's competitors, so let's get one last look at the teams before we get into Champ Select. On the blue side for Game 1, it is FlyQuest Academy. In the top lane, No. In the jungle, Shrimp. In the mid lane, Keane. In the bot, Erry. Support, JayJ. And Coach, Invert.
And over on the red side, it's Echo Fox Academy. In the top lane, it's Allorim. Jungle, OddOrange. Mid lane, Damonte. Lost in the bot lane, supported by PapaChau. Coached by Peter Zhang, my boy.
Your boy. We'll see how he does today. It's nice to have the coaches on stage, given that they've been kind of in the shadows for most of the regular season. But
yeah, they didn't get intros during the regular season.
They did not. Now we finally get to reveal them out to the world. Well, as you mentioned, kind of not expecting too much except around the very center of the map. Both these teams feel very mid and jungle focused. FlyQuest kind of all season long, continuing in their playoff run. Echo Fox maybe more recently. Damonte, of course, had his time in LCS, has looked very good. And OddOrange had a potentially career-defining performance in that first semi-final. We'll see if he can replicate that here as you are into the draft. First band's going to be Tom Kench away from PapaChau.
Yeah, you talk about Echo Fox's mid-jungle stepping up at the last part of the season. Kind of the perfect time to do it, going up against FlyQuest, who we talk about heavily relying on Shrimp and Keane to be their playmakers in the early game. Some of these other bands coming in. Got the Olaf, the Swain, Zach Vandal, a lot of jungle bans early on. There's a potential mismatch with Skarner if no one bans it, so gonna see what they do. Also, right now, no Xayah Rakan bans.
That's true. Kind of a lot freed up apart from the target there in the jungle. Fly going to ban another mid laner, though, taking Ryze away from Damonte, so kind of respecting the power of both Swain and Ryze, and interestingly, not wanting to first pick Swain more than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, Keane is someone who always has had his kind of weird champion picks and his staple champion picks, but doesn't seem to branch out of those too often. He's mostly become a bit of a Cassio, Azir, Ryze player, and so a lot of those banned out, and with Skarner left up, you gotta think that's where they're gonna look at first, but Shrimp doesn't love the champ.
Yeah, it kind of works out well for Fly if they do want to take Skarner here. Kha'Zix, a target ban away from Shrimp. A perfectly serviceable jungler, but there's a 180. Caitlyn actually the first overall pick in this draft.
Little surprised to see that. I mean, I had been talking to Double Lift, and he said while Xayah Rakan is very meta bot lane, it is actually more difficult to play than most people will appreciate, so while it is up right now, it doesn't feel like it's going to be snatched up right away, and Caitlyn does play well into it.
Certainly does. Caitlyn in general been kind of rising in priority, it feels like. Lost has played a lot in the regular season, but there is Sejuani there for OddOrange, so going to give up the Skarner and just take the tank.
Yeah, like I said, Shrimp doesn't love the champion. We saw him play Kha'Zix a couple times and hard carried some games, literally kept FlyQuest alive for a portion of them, so understand why that might be scarier, but you know, there you go, grabbing that power pick.
All right, seems like Xayah Rakan is on the table here for Fox. Going to take the Xayah and expect to get Rakan on the other end here, as they almost, Rakan at least basically never sees play without Xayah.
Yeah, I mean, there are some pinch situations you can set up on blue side when going against red, where they have to take Rakan with their last pick, and then they might get pinched at mid lane or AD carry or something, depending on what else is up. But here, with junglers matching, AD carries matching, and the Rakan being what Fox is probably going to take, you expect whatever they lock in here to be what gets pitched.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It looks like support's going to be the pick here. JayJ
Never mind.
going to take Morgana. There's Skarner, and flashing the Nami actually locks it in.
Whoa!
So Rakan just going to get brushed on by.
This is a weird draft thus far. Not super high Skarner priority. Caitlyn over Xayah. Nobody wanting to play Xayah Rakan. And the Morgana was, I think, a bit of a expectation of the Rakan coming in because Morgana can Black Shield, stop some of the initiation. Nami is one of the best champions to play into Morgana, actually. It's a very strong champion, deals with some of the harass early on. You can break the shield with your W and E and still land the bubble. So a bit of a counter pick there, giving up some of the power of a team comp with Rakan for the laning prowess, which makes sense into Caitlyn Morgana.
Certainly have to agree. They've been pretty aggressive in general in the 2v2 for Lost and PapaChau. Still phase 2 of bans now underway with Nah getting taken off the board by Fox Academy. Camille will be the answer. Allorim has one Camille game this season.
Yeah, I was kind of laughing. Gnar makes some sense. Allorim hasn't played it yet, but on the side of No, he has played it 5 times, so that ban makes sense. But the Camille ban, some of these other carry tops that are coming in are kind of more just like throwaway bans because both these guys, like we said, primarily tank players.
Yep, I mean, good champion certainly is Cho'Gath going to join the next set of top lane bans. Certainly a strong tank there on the top side. We'll see a Fly want to take away another one, or if there is a trade on the table. But 3 top lane is being banned in this phase is pretty interesting, and Fly could make it 4 here. Got a lot to think about though, and they will ban Azir, so I think kind of appropriately taking a mid laner away.
Yeah, a little surprising given that it is Keane who will not be getting his hands on the Azir, but Ryze banned out. Cassio seems like the priority here, and if they ban the Azir and they don't take Cassio right away, I expect FlyQuest to grab it for themselves here, and then they actually did manage to knock Damonte's champion pool down a little bit.
Yep, kind of like this though, kind of Damonte saving his counter pick and giving Ornn over to Allorim, denies the pick from No, which kind of lines up with the top lane bans here. Certainly his most played champ on the season.
Yeah, No had a pretty interesting champion pool. He had a total of, 7 Ornn games, like you said.
Yep.
A lot on there, 5 Gnar games, 4 Maokai, making up the vast majority of his games played thus far.
Yeah, again, just tanks everywhere. As Orianna actually the pick there for Keane, kind of blocking the Cassio pick.
Yeah, it hasn't been a super hard counter for a while, and this would interest me a lot if they actually lock in the Zoe here. Did receive some buffs on 8 points.
Hey!
Let's go.
Love it. I mean, Damonte was the Zoe.
Yeah,
and the champion was aggressively overpowered.
Yeah, when she was broken, Damonte put on quite the show to be like, yeah, nerf this. Absolutely took over a game and destroyed. The 8.4 patches came in, kind of killed the champion, and then received some buffs to get it back into a playable state. We've seen it in Europe earlier today.
Yep.
Perks played it, I believe, and now Damonte is going to get his hands on it.
Well, certainly, we heard it from Golden Glue, kind of a flashy, more aggressive, mechanical player. Damonte going to look to style all over Keane and his Orianna, but we already talked about the 2v2 between mid and jungle being probably the point to watch here in this matchup. Definitely curious to see what they can get done, because I think looking at both these duos, there's a lot of potential action.
Yeah, I think Skarner having the tempo advantage in terms of early farming on Sejuani means that Skarner with Predator and getting a fast recall and base off can sometimes get Predator boots and go for crazy stuff. We already kind of highlighted Zoe, Xayah Rakan, or excuse me, Xayah Nami. I'm so used to just saying the 2 together, yeah. That matchup against a Caitlyn Morgana lane can get a little explosive, so there's a lot of stuff that can potentially happen here.
Yeah, we kind of brushed over it as well, but it is Sion also there for No. So
yeah, we brushed over it for a reason.
Yeah, not that many tanks got pinched, so I guess I mean, we talked about it. Top lane's kind of a wash. This matchup feels like kind of a wash. We'll see if anything fancy happens there, but I think teams playing pretty much to expectations with these first drops.
Yep, some pretty standard team comps with a couple small tweaks. The Nami and the Zoe in particular kind of standing out here, and FlyQuest getting a lot of their comfort champions.
Well, certainly fun to see, but only one can win the Academy Finals here. We'll see how the kind of tempo of the game is set out here at game number 1, and don't forget there is a mini game for No on FlyQuest to play. He only needs to win 1 game to kind of shake the never beaten Allorim in a competitive game before. He's got 5 chances potentially to do it. Obviously, they'd much prefer to win the series. So as the team spread out onto Summoner's Rift, we'll see how it goes down.
Absolutely. Talking about that matchup a little bit in the top side, No actually has a relatively similar amount of unique champions played. It's 8 to 9, but his distribution of that is pretty different, where he has almost all his games on Ornn, Gnar, and Maokai, with a number of only single game champions like Alawi, Urgot, and Sion, whereas Allorim, while only having a couple more unique champions, does have 2 or more games on a handful of them. The Shen got 2, the Yorick got 2, started getting some fans out against him. Poppy and seems to have a little bit more depth, but as you can tell, there's so much more focus elsewhere on the draft. It's going to be hard to knock No off one of his tanky champions.
Yeah, and I feel like all the things we set up here, where a lot of mid-jungle attention, plus some consistent, strong role-playing type players kind of sitting in the other 3 roles. That draft has certainly shown us that, but of course, expectations can be changed here. OddOrange already had a performance to be praised in their semi-final. We'll see who else steps up potentially in this series as junglers are just lining up for their first clears on the left side.
Yeah, and it was Sejuani that he did have a lot of those monster performances on, so you can kind of see a little bit of a comfort pick that both Shrimp and him share. And, you know, if you're on stage, it's a big event, you want to get your most comfortable champion here, and one that he's already performed on stage with.
Especially thinking the first game, making sure to kind of settle things and start it off nice and slow. Looks like, actually no one moving there. OddOrange onto his Raptors now. We'll see where Shrimp goes. It looks like he's just full clearing his left side as Allorim does join in the lane after helping OddOrange on his red.
Yeah, both junglers kind of clearing down to the bot lane. We're highlighting this as one of the potentially more volatile lanes in the game. There are pretty stable lanes all around, but if the Morgana and Caitlyn want to play really aggressive, the Nami can sustain some of it, but you will take very aggressive trades to actually fight back. So if they want to go toe-to-toe with them, there will be a lot of action. They'll be pushed up. A jungler can gank a pushed up lane, and then the other team wants to counter gank as well. So there might be a fair amount of focus down there.
Yep, early on seems like the push, as expected, going in favor of Caitlyn. Shrimp ducking out as Erry. He's going to move here to try and get a ward down. Not quite over the wall.
Was that on purpose, though?
Maybe. I mean,
no, I don't
quite get enough vision, so they probably... Okay, now they're going to know where OddOrange is. He is going to path over that ward. OddOrange gets a ward of his own on the other side, but yeah, that one will talk up to an oopsie.
A little bit of an oopsie there, but not too bad either way. They probably know that OddOrange is down on that side anyways. They got another ward on his other ramp down into the river, as well as that Scuttle Crab, so plenty of knowledge on where OddOrange will be.
Yep, another ward there from Keane. FlyQuest just setting vision up. OddOrange going to go back kind of early. I guess he has nothing else to clear except Krog. Strip stays out here to go through his Raptors. He's trying to cycle through a few more camps. No with a knock up there. Allorim going to answer back, and tank trades happen. Drowsy there in the mid lane. Going to follow in with a Q. Damonte, good amount of poke there in the mid lane. Is actually a root onto Lost. Another headshot's going to follow. Lost going to have to chug through that potion ASAP.
And that's what we're talking about, this bot lane being a little volatile. There is the potential for Nami to offset some of this aggressive play, but it's hard to match the pushing. You're going to get chunked out and a lot of trading. So might be more action down there. Jungler's kind of passing.
Yeah, just kind of zipping by each other. Speed Train is up for FlyQuest as Shrimp took down the Scuttle Crab, but OddOrange back on the map getting vision. Doesn't see that ward. No, does see that ward, excuse me. OddOrange trying to do the same and find a ward. Does catch Keane's trinket, so we'll sweep that out.
Yeah, OddOrange actually going to clear that ward.
Gets the XP. It's level 4.
Heyo!
All calculated. As looks like Noah running a little low on mana. Might play a little bit further back as Damonte pops the GLP that he picked up off the ground.
Second one in a row.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he hit Keane with that earlier on. I'm pretty lucky with those item actives.
Well, again, just backing around here. Not too much happening in this tank v tank matchup. Not expecting much either as we continue looking at the bot lane. Despite the pressure, did manage to stay in the lane and haven't fallen behind on CS. So nice there to kind of keep things afloat, but a back being taken by Erry and JayJ means that soon enough it will be matched by the Fox duo.
And this is the kind of game that you see out of FlyQuest a lot, where they're very happy to focus on warding and pushing, and then they go for a lot of dragons. They've had great dragon control in playoffs. And if you look at their goal difference at 15, it is -1. So they are basically at 15 minutes equal in a lot of games. They're not a very volatile team. That's why they were able to hold first place for so long in the regular season, and it enables them to focus more on objectives and more on punishing mistakes, which is why that you can say against some of these other top teams like the TLAs and the C9s who were a little bit more volatile, they were able to find victories.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, kind of no surprise to see these two teams squaring off in the finals, as No does eat the wrong end of a trade versus Allorim. Actually, about 10 CS behind so far. So top lane is going well in the isolated 1v1 despite the matchup not being too exciting. Slow is going to take off the passive from OddOrange. A little attempt there in the 3v3, but it looks like Nami's also roamed. JayJ is going to land the binding, but just going to clear this ward. Yeah, everyone's okay.
Everyone's okay, but you see the focus for FlyQuest Academy. A lot more vision thrown down around the bot lane. They want to watch out there to enable their Caitlyn, Morgana lane to just keep pushing freely. And JayJ's doing a great job just harassing OddOrange in his own jungle.
Yeah, lots of pretty far forward wards as well. Actually, a control ward place to start off this jungle invade. He's going to unleash that Gromp, gets impatient. OddOrange got a little too low, and it's kind of all translating back to the last thing you just talked about, which is that Drake control.
Absolutely. Chunk out the other jungler. You have bot lane priority for the most part. Allows you to do this early on. Also, the fact that Skarner is a great champion for doing early objectives when he has that Spire under control. He's able to kind of just sustain himself, keep it up. Ocean Dragon also not particularly difficult to take, which is going to be great for their strategy. Hold on, Erry getting a little caught out.
Going to force a flash, but not sure they can check the rest of it. Not in time, at least. Drake will go over. So FlyQuest as Shrimp smites that down.
Like I was just saying, great for how FlyQuest is kind of approaching this game. A lot more focus.
Oh, actually going to get spotted, stunned over. Shrimp finds the first blood. That pesky ward kills OddOrange.
That's why you need that vision control. Allows you to find those kind of random kills in a sense. OddOrange is clearing his jungle relatively low. That's actually not that uncommon for junglers, but because that great vision control also had his Predator boots active, could get on top of OddOrange very quickly.
Great bit of play there from Shrimp, and OddOrange just... I mean, we know he shouldn't have stayed, but hard judgment to make perhaps. Still, the harassment's totally effective there for FlyQuest. They even push them out, they invade, they get vision, they get the Drake, and they even get a kill out of the deal.
Yeah, usually when you hear that Drake roar and you don't have vision on it, you expect the other team to kind of back off after the Dragon, be happy with their gains, but Shrimp continuing to be aggressive, and you kind of heard them talking about it on the desk. He plays a lot of different playstyles where he goes crazy invade, crazy camp heavy, crazy objective focus, and now that he has the lead, he is hounding OddOrange.
Yeah, no reason for him to really not play this aggressive. His lanes are pushing in as well right now, so good timing here for Shrimp on the red buff invade. Keane going to zone off OddOrange, even takes a couple of the small raptors. OddOrange will have to contend with just the big one. Shrimp now level 6. Looking to try and get something happening in a lane as well. Lost needs a binding, but no follow-ups there.
A little bit, got the built over Peacemaker on him, keeping him pushing under the turret. Not a ton of damage on the turret quite yet, and you saw Erry did not get the optimal back. Ended up with a pickaxe, and here's OddOrange. Just no idea this is coming in until whoop, over the wall.
Yep, not much you can do there, unfortunately, for him. Shrimp using that vision that they earlier got to their advantage, as he's going to now donate the blue buff over to Keane. Haven't checked in the mid lane for a while. Pretty even. Keane currently with a 10 CS lead. See if he can increase or hold that as the lane continues, but both mid laners have backed. Damonte and Keane both working up to that early Archangel stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, a little interesting to see some of the changes in the build for Zoe. Last time we saw her, it was more of a Morello Nomicon focus, and she kind of got nerfed right when that major rework and a lot of items came in. So now that she's finally viable again on this patch, you see going with that Archangel's build does press Q a lot.
Certainly does. Gets the blue buff also, so going to match those first early buff takes. And I'll imagine mid laners will just continue to farm back and forth here,
as mid lane tends to do.
I mean, there's been a lot of that so far, and the jungle attention really has been kind of at each other, and now bot lane actually for OddOrange, who has hit level 6.
Yeah, we talked about how the bot lane isn't something that they usually put a lot of resources into, but with this matchup and the fact that it is enabling jungle pressure more so than it is about ganking the lane is pretty interesting to note, because sometimes when you pick a Caitlyn Morgana lane, you chunk people out, you see those invades and rotations focused on diving under the turret and looking for those kills, because despite the fact that Lost and PapaChau have been poked out pretty low sometimes, the jungler hasn't really looked to use that pressure in the lane and instead going for invades and vision control.
And as you mentioned, they haven't really converted into much tower damage either, so another back there for Erry will leave Lost and PapaChau with a CS lead in their 1v1. But now with 2 AD items, things can maybe start to be pressured and bullied a little bit more there in the 2v2. Otherwise, everyone's just kind of chilling out.
Yeah, usually the first BF sort is when you start seeing those Caitlyn's really put their pressure on their auto attacks, start doing a lot more damage to those turrets. Start dropping those down and move around the map. And FlyQuest's game plan is pretty online right now with 1,000 gold lead at 10 minutes. Not massive, but it's enough where if they're able to break that first turret with that advantage that they've kind of been generating down the bot lane. And this also the fact that Shrimp is now looking for another neutral objective.
OddOrange probably going to spot him. No, does not sweep the Rift Tower, but instead trying to find the wards alongside mid lane. So Shrimp will be left in the dark to take down this objective.
Gonna have to sniff it out, but doesn't feel like he's going to be able to do so. Still 3,000 on it. And proc the eye, so he's not going to get another eye proc, but he's doing enough damage to take this one.
Yeah,
fine.
has Smite ready, so it should be A-OK. Shrimp Gonna grab yet another neutral objective. You said it already at 15. FlyQuest with a total goal difference average of -1 does not necessarily reflect in their objective control, which has certainly been a focus of their early games. Damonte tries to get a kill here. Exhaust lands, followed by stun, but the actual paddle star is going to miss for the follow-up. Still a full-man shockwave from Keane. He's going to disengage the fight. Shrimp might even look for a re-engage.
Yeah, pretty big there that they were able to get JayJ out without losing any summoners, which was pretty impressive. Looks like that exhaust that we had seen, it was free. It was a free one. I was trying to look like, where did they get that? But actually, no summoners traded.
From a balloon, of course.
Why didn't I know that?
Where else do you get your summoner spells from?
I don't know, the client before you launch into the game.
Yeah, Damonte stealing one off the ground. But not effective enough to combo in for a kill. Still some ultis burnt here and there, but OddOrange is going to sneak back down here into the bot lane and try again.
And this is really the only path he has available.
Ooh, goes straight in for it. There's lost with the early ulti, but the Black Shield's nice from JayJ. He finally burns that flash to save himself. Now Shrimp on the scene here in the bot lane. Might turn it around.
Might look for it. There was an ultimate used by Lost, so he's a little bit more susceptible than Xayah's tend to be. And like we were just saying, that's really the only option OddOrange has with how much vision control there's been in his own jungle. So you've seen him go for that lane gank a couple of times there, but critically, JayJ was able to hold onto his flash after that kind of skirmish in the river. The fact that Keane was able to disengage that was critical in keeping him alive moments later.
And we haven't seen too much of the mid lane as the farm has been quite even, but looks like Damonte's been feeling the push pressure there. Zoe's wave clear got pretty heavily cut down, so first turret with that Rift Herald that Shrimp got actually going over to FlyQuest, and now the pressure mounts with bot outer turret being quite low. Shrimp looking to make a play over the wall. It has been spotted, ward down now.
Yeah, they're not quite sure where he is, and there they find him.
Keane also roaming down. The OddOrange, I think, just spotted him, and they do have a ward as well. So defensive vision is nice here for Fox Academy, but I don't think that means they can really do anything 4v3 under their turret.
No, I mean, they're doing a good job, you know, not getting dove and getting murdered, but you see the turret's health continues to drop now, sitting at around 10% HP left on it. So that one's going to drop soon thereafter. Top lane, like we said, bit of a non-factor this entire time. The Banner of Command completed, though, so maybe No's going to get his own pushing in here now.
Maybe. A plan seems to be there for FlyQuest to push down those turrets and kind of play that slow, objective-focused game they've been so consistent with all season. Lost, you can just see, you said it, the BF Sword would kind of tip the scales in that matchup. Seems to have done so with the recent pushing pressure as Allorim contends with the banner. No's just going to smack the turret while he's here.
Yep. The fact that Ornn is almost entirely magic damage makes it so it's pretty hard for him to clear that bannered up minion out. As opposed to Sion, who's got at least his axe to be physical damage.
Smack him around. Looks like maybe a banner out for Allorim, but we'll see what he converts those pieces into. Keane with blue buff number 2 for himself. Damonte over on the other side doing the same. But already, the early 1,000 gold lead is crept up to 2. With FlyQuest securing that Drake and using that Rift Herald to secure the most important outer turret there in mid. So far so good for FlyQuest, and not expecting the game to pick up anytime soon, but like you said, as far as their game plans go, it's a very strong, solid execution so far.
Yep, they're doing a great job, and now Shrimp finally pays his first attention up to the top lane with Keane having broken that mid lane turret.
Pop Predator Allorim is kind of caught out here. He's going to get ulti, can't re-engage. The Shockwave also going to connect for a bit of extra CC. Not quite enough yet, but Keane has the damage. Allorim goes down.
Really well played there by Shrimp, making sure to suppress him during the ultimate so he can't get the redirect on it. Call the Forge God just goes sailing past them. They get the easy kill. Now, no top laner up there means this turret might go down, but good vision control is going to cover the mirror play on the other side of the map.
Nice binding there for JayJ for a bit of prediction. Damonte looking for the sleep, finds the stun. Drowsy does follow in afterwards. Almost a one-shot, needed a little bit more, but doesn't quite have the damage for the kill.
Not going to be able to do it. Both OddOrange and JayJ walking away very low there, but you are more than willing to trade a red buff for a top lane turret, so still FlyQuest coming out ahead.
Yep, got the kill, get the turret. Trade on turrets is in the bot side here after bot lane left to help out with that jungle invade, so Austin PapaChau do stick around and get that turret.
A little surprising to see them be able to burn that one down so quickly, but that's Xayah. When she turns on her W steroid, does do a fair amount of damage.
It's a little risky though, going for this Mountain Drake. FlyQuest are on a back from their bot side, but haven't bought yet if a fight would break out. Still seems like the timing is good for Echo Fox Academy. And I mean, they know it's not there, but now they know it's dead as Drake #2 goes over to Fox.
Yeah, and so we'll take another look at this top dive. First, you see Allorim has been kind of ignored this entire game, so it's a little hard to get in the mindset of like, oh, I could actually die here this time. And Shrimp and Keane blast one over the wall. There's that suppression on the ult, so Allorim can't redirect it. He's going to go down, very easy kill, but no minion wave to work with, so it kind of stalls out before they're able to take that one. And there was a small bit of tempo advantage for FlyQuest after they overstayed, not completely overstayed, but overstayed in air quotes for that Mountain Dragon. But you see them not opting to try and push that wave in and actually equalize the bottom turrets. Not really confident to walk forward without any forward vision that they've kind of been relying on all game long to play aggressive.
Yeah, kind of transferred that power over to the top side, so kind of bot takes the hit as far as vision goes. Look, as expected, wherever Keane and Shrimp go is kind of where the flow of the game is looked for. Bot lane has got their backs in on the Fox side as well, though. Essence Reaver now done as OddOrange back to the scene of his first crime. Did not get a kill last time, but maybe this time will fare better.
Going for those lane ganks, but this time Shrimp is in position on a ward, so it doesn't look like they really want it, but seeing if Erry's going to walk forward.
Well, if it looks like they don't want it, that's when you get him. But it looks like the bait not going to be taken. Oh, actually, never mind. JayJ, he's going to Black Shield, needs to wear it off the flash. He's going to dodge that tidal wave. The shield was still up, though. Suppressed, though, here in mid lane. Looking for Damonte. Keane looking to combo it back in. First flash, that's the real one for Damonte. Under his turret is safe enough.
Yeah, the fact he was able to flash out while also having his Ghost going. Keane had his and could potentially have followed, but with the extra speed up from the Ghost, did not feel like you could get in range for the pullback on the ultimate. As well as the fact Damonte did have his.
No, ulti's here for unsupported or jungle. Here's a TP in from FlyQuest. TP gonna answer. Great bit of Drowsy onto Noah, gonna stop the decimating smash, but the support caught out. PapaChau, who's gonna fall down. OddOrange also caught in the mix, but he flashes out. Ult's not bad from the orb, but now they're gonna move in and try and get a kill. Damonte does take out Shrimp. JayJ low, but Erry takes down Lost in and amongst the mess. A stun there in onto Allorim, who's too deep. No, he's gonna chase him down. And Keane collects the scraps at the end and gets the kill.
A very close fight there, all things considered, for how it started for FlyQuest Academy. Still ends up a 3-for-1 in their favor. Not a ton to be able to grab off of it. Looks like No is just going to head down to the bot lane to get that very weak turret off the map to extend their turret lead to 3-1. But that was a great TP flank by No to kick things off before the Fox re-engage almost turned it around. The fact that they've had deep vision control means that once the map starts opening up, these TPs are going to be great for him. Gets the charge No. They knew it was coming in, it looked like, based off that sleepy bubble, but had already gotten the small knockup up. So OddOrange and PapaChau kind of instantly get messed up there. Allorim does do a fair amount of damage to turn back onto Shrimp, but then they haven't really gotten onto Keane or Erry yet. So even though JayJ is low and not really contributing too much from the fight, both carries were pretty safe there. And in all that, it did feel like Lost got a little over-aggressive. He saw all the low-health members after Allorim's call the Forge God. Felt like he could go forward, but kind of got popped for it.
Juicy Blast Cone actually pops him into a Morg binding, and that's how he died after getting trapped. So certainly a little too keen. He's going to fall in that fight. FlyQuest pick up a team fight win, continuing to move that gold advantage forward for themselves, up about 4,000 gold now that they've taken down that last outer turret.
And this is where the difficult part of the game comes for them. They have 40 seconds before Baron spawns. They're not so far ahead that I think they want to force Baron too hard. So they're going to hold on and try and find pickoffs most likely.
Yep, got time to kind of let people scale up. Caitlyn on 2 items. Keane getting stronger with 2 finished of his own. Actually interesting to see both mid laners keeping close, but also going for the same build. Morgana after its changes hasn't been picked up too much, but looks like that's the second item for both these mid laners.
And No is going to be safe here despite getting stunned up. And the Morgana is a little interesting on Orianna. She's a champion that from ahead you sometimes saw people back when Leandries gave Magic Pen, they would pick up the Haunting guys with their boots and they can kind of smash people. Keane is pretty far ahead at 2-0 and 2, so I understand why he's going for a more damage-oriented build. Damonte on the flip side just wants to blow people up from long range, so Morgana does work very well for that now, building out of Oblivion Orb.
Certainly good for the early pen. Damonte with a Ignite that he stashed away, but Bubble's not hitting as Fox grouped us 4 here in mid lane, trying to get some answering on these turrets and start a siege of their own.
They're going to go, but it's going to be hard. Top lane's already pushing back for FlyQuest Academy. You see Erry and JayJ up, starting to work on that inner turret, and that engage did not find them anything, so they might lose a turret for that.
Yeah, red buff Caitlyn pretty good here. In tandem with this Morgana to knock down the turret. Getting low, gonna need one more wave, but still the pressure mounts here in mid. Keane continuing to shove those in. Allorim kind of running around for a flank with Damonte, chunked out under the turret by the dissonance. Lost and PapaChau do get here in time to save the turret, but OddOrange, who did come up looking for yet another kill, will not find it. He walked over a trap, and Keane steals the blue buff.
Is it really saving it if you're just prolonging the inevitable?
I mean, not really, and that's kind of the issue here for Fox. It is pressured in every single lane right now in the mid game. When the map starts getting this close, it's just tough to find space to do anything in.
Yeah, absolutely, and the fact that FlyQuest has had great vision control while having this much pressure has made it very difficult for Fox to find these angles. OddOrange kind of looked mid, tried to go on top side, ended up on a trap, gets spotted out again. No has these banner waves heading in the bot lane, and all three turrets are slowly just having minions thrown into them with the occasional champion auto attacks as well.
Well, again, Fox trying to get the waves pushing in the right direction for them, but Erry's like, nope, I'll deal with that one. Shrimp is back on a second Ocean Drake for himself, third total here in the game.
And they did lose the Mountain Dragon, which they would love to have right now with how their strategy is going, with a lot of 1-3-1ing and taking turrets down.
Well, they'll take this if nothing else and keep the Drakes spawning away. And again, just you kind of look at the neutral vision along the river. FlyQuest owns basically all the real estate at this stage. So Shrimp able to walk in and just freely take that dragon down, given all the hard work they've done to get this level of control.
Fox is doing their best to get some back as well right now as they hear that call go down from the dragon, move into the top side, get some vision control around this Baron pick, because you know that's where the next focus is going to be for FlyQuest. But with how well they've been clearing out vision and putting their own down, I can't imagine those wards are going to stick around too long.
Don't think so, but JayJ going to start clearing those out. Does find one. Going to look for a couple more, but nothing left to see right now.
Yeah, as jungler left him, you talk about the jungle jungle support ward duties. Usually the two of them combo together to clear things out. Shrimp had gone back to base. Now they're going to sync up, and that's when JayJ will feel comfortable walking into the river behind that beefier Skarner. This is some good solo queue practice too, everybody. You don't have to go if you're the support player. I'm the vision control guy.
That's true. You don't have to go alone. Demand friends.
Solo queue supports love complaining about how much they do for their team and how underappreciated they are. Sometimes you guys just face check stuff. You know, like, wait for your jungler, call for him even.
Use those assist pings.
Yeah.
They save your life much more often than you would think. And if nothing else, at least you let your team know that you needed some help. It's okay to be vulnerable sometimes, Mark.
Never.
Call the Forge God here. He's going to hit Keane, actually. Sleep going to land in, but the cleanse is good there from Keane. Now OddOrange forced to flash away. Shrimp looking for the sting, but not going to land it. Nose here in the mix. Does have his ulti. Catch finds the suppress on the one, but the tidal wave. He's going to re-engage a flank. Lost gets the ulti. Now going to pull back to Feathers asleep. Land, but a great shockwave from Keane finds three. PapaChau, he's going to go down. OddOrange the next to fall. And Damonte is trying to poke where he can. He finds one for the Drowsy with that Paddle Stars. No angle is good, but it's not enough to kill No regardless. Allorim blocks the ace in the hole, but still Fly come away with 2 clean kills.
2 kills. Skarner is healing up. He's going to grab some honey fruit, as well as the fact that they have the double Ocean Dragon ticking means he's almost back to full, and combined with the shields available for this team, they're actually going to start off on Baron. There's no smite to contest. Echo Fox are starting to walk into the river, though, to take a look at this.
Gonna have to poke some people off. Drowsy lands onto Erry. That's a good target for Damonte, but he doesn't see anything else. Tries to get some damage down. No, gonna get low, but Shrimp in the pit there for a little while longer. Secures the Baron. Damonte goes in aggressive with the dash to try and get a kill, but no one-shot to be found. Baron over to FlyQuest.
Huge victory for them after a very dicey fight in the mid lane, but they did get the objective. They're gonna get their resets off, and they're going to be able to take this game back.
Whoa! Damonte with a snipe finds JayJ for the one-shot. I guess it was 2 combined with a passive. Flash from Allorim's going to dodge Keane's next shockwave, but not bad there. Unfortunately for them, they don't get the turret, so only 1 pick-off is their reward.
Yeah, I mean, they were trying to punish what they expected to be recalls coming in from FlyQuest. FlyQuest gets greedy and says, you know what, we're going to stop you from taking our turret down. JayJ ends up getting taken down for it. Here's that mid lane fight, and I was surprised at how slow the re-engage came from FlyQuest. I thought for sure No was going to pull the trigger here, but Caitlyn's not really in range yet. She's still making her way up the river, so it's a good decision to wait a second. They find an angle, but he gets rooted right as he goes in, so Shrimp doesn't actually pull Lost anywhere, and it looks pretty bad as he's overextended, but the Orianna Shockwave combo with that ult that No held pulled everyone in the front line back in together, so they lose pretty much everyone but Allorim as a frontliner. So despite the fact that, you know, everyone's low on the side of FlyQuest, it's hard for them to walk forward. And then JayJ, talk about waiting for supports to be the frontliner there. That time he thought he was a little safer than he was.
Yep, a little too much face checking there. Does pay with it with his life, but still the damage coming out of this. Caitlyn with 3 items now finished. Bannered up Baron minion, also going to contribute a ton to this siege. As FlyQuest will take down turret number 4, now knocking down the tier 2s.
Do you know how many shots it takes now for the...
I do not know.
Jad always was proud to announce it, like, it's 8 guys, everyone, it's 8. I wonder what it is now.
Not 8.
Someone count right now. I haven't been looking. Oh, but there's been auto attacks thrown in there too.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter anymore.
All right, well, you know, it's helping. That's all that really matters. No going to block there. Try and protect the banner, and it does go down.
The crowd's still, you know, counting anyways. They just love counting.
That's good. That's important. I wish I'd learned that in school. Drowsy there lands, hits a good target, but Shrimp going to stay there and block the follow-up. Damonte decides not to pull the trigger as a result, but the banner minion still doing its work. More than enough to take down that inhib on one little push.
Really hard for Echo Fox to find an engage to walk forward onto that banner minion, so kind of just have to sit and watch their base crumble.
Never a good feeling as FlyQuest continue to leap ahead in gold. Now 8,500 gold ahead with more to come. Still a minute on the Baron buff left.
And so much control in FlyQuest comp. A great frontliner in Sion. Shields to back him up with Orianna and punish an over-engage where you can find some people walking over your ball. And then Caitlyn, that's super long range, so you're only going to get to her if you go for one of those big engages.
Yeah, despite the lane kind of playing out well for the Fox duo lane, I feel like competition has been really strong. And just in general, the Caitlyn play from Erry has been very solid and just kind of led FlyQuest to all his control. Soon enough, Super Minions will be in the mid lane. Shrimp again, threatening with the Skarner sting. Gets Drowsy, but a bit of poke there into Damonte. Here's all the Forge God. Tidal Wave's going to combo back in. Not bad. They get damage down, but they need a little bit more. Not enough damage as OddOrange falls there to No. Damonte tries to flash in, does kill No, and gets Shrimp Drowsy, but again, still getting chased down here. Lost, forced to pull the feathers back. Does have his ulti. Fox might look for more, but FlyQuest just want the inhibitor. They will get it. So despite the pickoff, not really enough.
Yeah, Erry got rooted up there for a second, and I thought maybe Damonte would keep looking for people, but he actually broke away up to the top side to deal with that big minion wave coming in. I thought Echo Fox, after No was taken out, that they would try and play a little bit more aggressive and have Damonte finding pickoffs, but they instead go to clear out that top wave, and FlyQuest are going to be able to grab this Infernal.
Yeah, total map controls just look too good for FlyQuest Academy. 5K plus out of that Baron power play. Pushing them to, yeah, over 10,000 gold ahead. At under 30 minutes in, this will be a quick one for FlyQuest if they can just kind of take those last few steps and close this out.
It kind of shows how clean FlyQuest is in their execution of the game. Here, they finally break the turret. They decide they need to go, so Echo Fox is going to pull that trigger. And JayJ does get chunked out pretty well there. Almost goes down, but it's just hard for them to get in range. They pull OddOrange in and instantly kill him. No was frontlining this the whole time, so he drops. And then after he's dead, I thought Damonte would continue to look for kind of fights off on the top side. No chases them off, but instead, Damonte just keeps following that path all the way up to the top side, which allows FlyQuest to grab that inhibitor for free. And now there's only one left for Echo Fox to try and defend.
Yep, Minion Wave killed the tier 2 actually, which is like you mentioned, while Damonte had to roam up there, or at least felt like he did. So Fox, again, just thanks to FlyQuest's good map play, can kind of get the minimum despite starting a decent fight to defend that inhib.
Yeah, it's one of those things where do you really think you're going to get another good look? Was that the last good look Echo Fox got? And maybe they kind of let that opportunity slip around them, because if they killed one or two more, maybe they could have got the Infernal. But here they are now trying to defend another seed.
Yep, going to look for one more here. Another good double knock him in the bot side. Drowsy onto Erry, stung it to land on the Shrimp, but he QSS it off, and now going to look for a pick of his own. Again, just despite the CC landing on the right targets, it's really hard for the carries to get in and do the final bits of damage.
Yeah, even if you do sleep Erry, it gives them enough time to back up, and then one of Shrimp or No with an Orianna shield on them are able to walk forward and avoid it. JayJ getting chunked out again, though.
One of those things about Zoe went behind, tapping No for a bit of poke, but not really much at all. Flash Sting now into OddOrange, who's just getting destroyed this game. Erry on a killing spree takes him down. Lost inhib's about to go down. Shockwave finds two, demolishes Lost in the ulti. And that might be all she wrote. FlyQuest cleaning up a near perfect game as they rip through Echo Fox Academy in game number 1.
And it is a dominating fashion as well. OddOrange was so critical in Echo Fox's semi-final victory here, kind of getting picked apart by Shrimp with those invades early on, finding the kill, kept vision control.
They've kept it clean all spring long, and they'll continue to do so here. Undefeated in playoffs so far, 4-0, looking to sweep the rest of the series. And hey, no crack to smile. He finally beat Allorim in a competitive game.
Here we go, saving the best time to do it here in the finals of Academy League. That would be a pretty sweet way to get his revenge if he's able to complete it.
It only took an Academy Finals and 2 former LCS players to get things done. But, I mean, the whole team played a great game. Now, I think Shrimp certainly led the charge to get them there, but you said it. Just the consistency and macro that FlyQuest play with is kind of unparalleled at this level.
Yeah, in Academy, there's no team cleaner than FlyQuest, and you saw it there. They had a great game plan, pushing bot lane. They clear down there with Skarner having a faster clear speed, get a lot of vision control so that their bot lane can keep playing aggressive and pushing in. That then combos into Drake control, which we talk about how much they love, and they just have so much that they do so well there.
Yep, came into Rift Turret as well, kind of knocking down that first turret, and from there, it was just a really well-played snowball game, despite, you know, a very tame first 15 minutes, which at this rate is just a FlyQuest special.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can keep going. I mean, you saw Keane getting the better of Damonte there, kind of taking the turret with the help of Rift Herald.
Well, instead of us, let's hear it from other people now. As for more on that FlyQuest victory, we'll send it over to Riv and the analysts.
It's not Dash.
No, it's not Dash, okay? Thank you very much, Pastry, and Pastry only. We are back on the analyst desk that is mine now, and I am hosting it. Let's move on. Aiden and Golden Glue. We had a pretty interesting game started off. A lot of FlyQuest favor right from the get-go, but picks and bans kind of threw us for a loop right on the start.
Yeah, the bans from FlyQuest where they banned away the Swain and the Rise on blue side was a little interesting. It kind of just says, like, maybe they just don't play the Swain.
Right.
They didn't want to trade the Caitlyn first pick over for a Rise, because it seems like the Caitlyn priority was mostly for just, you know, Erry said he respects Lost, thinks he's the best, just have a winning lane.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I know a lot of people have been liking the Caitlyn Morgana lane matchup into Xayah, and they basically said, you know, hey, we're going to give you Xayah, we're going to take Caitlyn, Morgana, we're going to do our thing. And then Echo Fox
gave Xayah Nami.
Yeah, they did the little twist. They took Nami third, which it's a range support. It gets dove under tower easily if you're losing.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, maybe supports should just be picking Braum and Tom each game. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Yeah, but you know, they're supposed to win lane with Nami, and if you don't win lane with that counter pick, you saw like Kate Morgana, they just siege you up, they throw roots out. There's not much you can do if you're not winning lane.
Yeah, she's practically fish food in these team fights. Like, she just gets blown up. She's not going to buy like any type of defensive item, really.
Right.
And all she can really contribute is she buffs the AD carry, and you hope that you're ahead enough that the AD carry is just 1v9ing or taking over the game. But then I think like kind of the X factor here in this game was just Shrimp. I think Shrimp really just hard out jungled OddOrange off of the fact that his bottom lane had this matchup that they were winning.
Absolutely, and we can start off right there. Great lead in to the first replay. We have Shrimp actually trying to get into that with OddOrange on the invade and really starting to kind of set the pace of the game and what is going to continue to happen.
And this blows my mind because they see these wards come down, right? Like FlyQuest Academy, I pushed them out. He knows that ward's there. He saw that ward come down, and he goes back to his Gromp with low HP. He saw the dragon call out there from the Ocean Drake dying.
I'm okay.
Yeah, he knows that stuff's there. And then he just gets killed. Like, OddOrange should not be there. That's a very high variance play. You just have to kind of cut your losses and sacrifice your jungle at that point because you have a losing side of the map there. Loses Ocean, dies, and I don't know, what do you think when that happens to your jungler?
Yeah, I mean, if I was on Echo Fox, that's right after the enemy takes the Ocean Dragon from early game. I'm already like, oh man, like they got an Ocean Dragon, like my lane's gonna be hard. Like they have constant potions basically going. And then your jungler gets solo killed on top of that, it's just like,
seems like a little bit of miscommunication to start things off.
Yeah, go next.
GG, go next.
Go next. A lot of games next to the.
But I do want to talk about like what they did after that really quickly because I saw that and I was like, okay, they got the flash bottom lane. He's level 5 Sejuani. Okay, that's fine. Reset, go top lane, get your red buff and your Raptors and get level 6, and then go bottom lane and path there and just throw a Sejuani ultimate at the flashless Caitlyn, right? they actually have Keane and Shrimp invade the top side, take the red and like all the Raptors, so they know exactly what he wants to do next, and they just stop it and delay it, and then it just becomes this big thing where your middle part of the map, your core with Keane and Shrimp, is just so far ahead they can just go anywhere, and we saw them dive after that.
And that's the thing. We talked about them in the beginning. When these guys get a step ahead, the game just kind of catapults for FlyQuest. We had to 16 minutes in where FlyQuest get a 3-for-1 near Dragon, just kind of being a bigger catalyst to them getting ahead.
Yeah, really good flank TP by the Sion. He gets right behind them, right in between the carries. And they kind of just, you know, they're stronger. And Zoe, when he's behind, like, you're not being able to push into the jungle, get picks. You can see it just does not do that much in fights like this, where they're decided by, you know, a Sion engage or Orianna ult. So
yeah, we didn't really talk too much about the Zoe from the champion select because it didn't actually impact the game a lot. We saw like good Orianna shockwaves, and then Keane was ahead. And then the Zoe, even though when I looked down, his scoreline was fine, he wasn't really like the reason that they lost at all.
We saw some kills there. He definitely got in. It was support kills.
Yeah, but it was
like going down.
We didn't really see the Zoe have much impact in this game at all. But a little bit of that is just the bans from FlyQuest with the Azir, the Swain, the Rise, the Orianna pickup to block a Cassiopeia. So the Zoe came through, and I think it's an okay matchup. Like you were saying, it's kind of Orianna favored.
Yeah, you know, it's a slightly lane favored for Orianna. You know, if you're really insane on Zoe, you land all your skill shots, and you saw early game, he got a couple like Hextech GLPs in lane. He was actually doing pretty well in lane. You know, there's some RNG variants to it, but you know, when they got that dragon and your jungler got behind, you're not gonna be able to contest 2v2 anymore. If you can't contest Vision 2v2 with a Zoe, there's not much you can really do. You just wait for them to, you know, you can't roam, you can't make plays. You wait for them to siege onto you, you look for picks when you can, but they're just too tanky.
Should there have been kind of, after we saw OddOrange go down, should they have kind of focused on saying, hey, let's get Damonte going on Zoe since we can actually maybe make plays out of the lane?
You definitely want to try to do something out of the Zoe Sedge, because usually you should be able to maybe like one-shot the Skarner, and start with the Sedge ult, Zoe sleep. You can maybe one-shot him, but they never gave him the chance. They never had the vision to be able to pull off a play like that. And after that first play, they did really well to track him. Like, they tracked him at his red, they tracked him at Raptors. He wasn't even 6. He had to like go back bot side to get 6. It was not a good time.
Yeah, it was really bad. And yeah, in my opinion, that was pretty much the story of the game, was that Damonte was doing fine. OddOrange got behind, but then the bottom lane picks for FlyQuest just seemed to be a better combo, like the Kate Morg. Having that pressure and allowing Shrimp to invade was kind of, I think, a lot of the story of the game there. So I think next game in draft, you really do have to look at that Caitlyn and the combinations and try to secure a stronger bot lane for Lost and PapaChau so that they can actually contest that bottom lane.
Well, let's see. This game won pretty quick around mid with that Baron. They get the Baron. We saw him push down every lane. It got to banners, but it didn't have to be very long. FlyQuest were able to take the win, and they have started this series strong. Stick around after the break to see if Echo Fox Academy strike back in Game 2. You're watching the NA Academy League Finals.
This is a PG-13 rap.
Yeah.
After this game,
Tanner's
I'm gonna make you run a lap.
Tanner's spitting bars up on the stage. You don't want to release me. Let me out of the cage.
Oh! Whoa! Actually gonna get spotted, stunned over. Shrimp finds the first blood. That pesky ward kills OddOrange. Support caught out. PapaChau, who's gonna fall down. OddOrange also caught in the mix, but he flashes out. Ult's not bad from the orb, but now they're gonna move in and try and get a kill. Damonte does take out Shrimp. JayJ low, but Erry takes down Lost.
I can't get in. I can't get in.
I'm slip. I'm okay.
Look here.
Oh, Nami.
Yeah.
Sedge.
Nice.
Lost in him's about to go down. Shockwave. Oh, it's 2. Demolishes Lost in the ulti.